time up. Go.
That takes some practice, but I thought I'd just kind of demonstrate that to you real quick. I did it freehand. I didn't use any lines or guidelines or anything, but it takes a lot of focus on how my spacing is, how tall all the letters are, and so forth. And notice I did it in parts. I did the letters, I did some curlicues to it, I added a shadows on the left and bottom, and this is called stacking, where you put the letters on top of each other. It doesn't say Happy Valentine's Day all in a row. It's stacked on. And notice that they actually bump into each other. That's kind of the fun part of doing calligraphy and lettering, is that if they connect, it's kind of unusual. You can't do that on a computer. You know, we're so enticed with do everything on the computer, but when it's hand done, you can really think outside the box and never have anything do it twice the same way, which is totally awesome. So that is some calligraphy. So I'm going to show you part 2 today on doing the inside of your card. So remember what we did last time is that we started our card, and you were supposed to have this done so we can do the inside. Okay? And remember, we talked about doing in color, and so this part would be in here. So you can set this part away. If you did colored paper, set that aside. We're just going to do with the white paper, and we're going to do the letter. So think about, okay, when we open up a card, we want our message right here. And this is going to be, when you go to Walmart and buy a card, you look at the card, and you open up and it says some type of message, and then you say, oh, I don't like that message, I'll do. Well, this one, you can personalize it and make it say anything that you want. So you might need to practice and think about what you want to say first before you write it. We'll put Happy Valentine's Day on this side, and then the side over here on the left side is that you can put a personal note or message to the, making it to the person you're actually giving it to. So how do we do that? How do we get these letters all straight since you're just a beginner? Well, remember that line paper? Take your line paper, fold it the same way as you did the white paper. So we fold it in half, and then half again. And that should be about the same size as inside your card. So we're going to use just this part right here because we know it's going to fit in there. So these guidelines are going to help you out, keeping it straight on here, where you have, how do I keep all my letters nice and straight? So we're going to use some lines, and we're going to use a regular pencil for this. So if you make a mistake, you can erase it and clean it up. So this is kind of like, again, like your pattern, like on your heart, your cutouts. This is going to be your pattern. So if you make a mistake, don't panic, whatever. And so what we're going to do is, we're not going to use this style. We're going to use whatever printing font that you know. So you don't have to necessarily copy me. So it's kind of in your handwriting. So I'm going to think about these lines here. I got a line number 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to put a dot in between 1 and 2, and a dot below 3 halfway down. If this was 4, I'm going to put a dot between 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So that will give you kind of indication how tall things need to be. So again, using your regular pencil, we're going to print very nicely, very slow, because calligraphy, the word calligraphy, C-A-L-L-I-G-R-A-P-H-Y, the word calligraphy means beautiful handwriting. And calligraphy is not meant to be written fast. It's meant to be written slowly, because you got to focus on every letter that you make. If I'm making an A here and then an A here, they all need to look the same. If I have twins, a letter P here and then the same thing next, they need to look the same. If I have an N here and then a couple letters down, I have another N, they need to look the same. So you really got to focus on how you make your letters, and the one way to really do better is to slow down. So remember we had 1, 2, 3, and we did add 4, and we put dots between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to start with an H for happy. We're going to start with the dot between 1 and 2 and just draw a vertical line going down to 3. We're going to make a twin over here, and we're going to make our H, and our H is going to start outside, and we're just going to go straight across. There's our H. We'll make it fancier in a minute. Then we're going to go ahead and make a small a. However you make your A, doesn't matter. Just make it nice and clean and slow down. Now we need to make the letter P. Make another one, try to make a twin. And now we're going to make a Y. However you make your Y. If you want to make your small y this way, that's fine. So there's happy. Okay, remember your spacing. And we did go down the tails. These are called tails on your letters. They touch number 4. Notice all my other basic letters go from 2 to 3. Now, we're going to stack it. Remember we said we're not going straight across. We're going to stack our Happy Valentine's Day. So Valentine's is going to be bumped way up here. So we're going to start on 4, and we're going to make a large V. And look, I got some empty space here, so I'm going to make it. And when I make my V, I'm going to push out. So if you make your V this way, but I'm going to do this. Watch this. That's kind of like the right side of a heart. Okay. Don't squish it. Don't. I always had students when I taught they did this. They squished it. No, you need to push out. Remember that the heart shape. See this part right here? Push it out. Okay. So now what's the next letter? A. So I got to copy this A that I made up here. Then the L. The L is a tall letter, so it goes all the way up to 1. This is our new 1, 2, 3, 4. E, make a nice E. It's like a C, and then you bring it around and make it straight across. N, T, T. We're not going to make it as tall as the L. We're going to start, remember we had a dot in between 1 and 2. We're going to start right in the middle of 1 and 2, and we're going to go down. And then the crossbar for the T is right on 2. Remember, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So these are all the same height. Then the I. You can make the dot of the I a dot. I like to make it like an upside down comma. If you want to make it fancy, you could make a little heart shape in there. That'd be cool. So then make another N. We got this. We got to look at this N while we're making this one. So it looks the same. What's the next letter? E. We got to look at this one while we make this one, so we make it the same. What's the next letter? S. But before the S, we got to have the apostrophe. Put like a comma up here. And then the S. Now on the S is tricky. S is like the 8. Notice when we make an 8, usually the top circle is smaller than the bottom one. We don't make an 8 this way. That now it looks like it's upside down. Well, we do the same thing with an S. Most of the time we make S small on top, bigger on the bottom. We don't do this. Now it looks like it's upside down. It looks like the 8. So we got to think about the 8, small, and then bigger on the bottom. Day, D-A-Y. We don't want to go all the way down here. We want to probably put it right in here. Notice the D doesn't have any tall letters like the L. So it's not going to bump into our word of Valentine. So we're going to go down I like to leave an open D. This is called open. See, there's a space here. It's not closed. So watch this. Push out. Don't touch the bottom line here. A, look, A, we got to make another A. So they almost in a row. Make the same type of A. No matter what kind of A you make, whatever your font style is of printing, copy it. And then here's my Y. I had a Y here. I got a Y down here. So I got to look at this one. Why make this one? Same thing. Okay. Now, there's my basic lettering. Happy Valentine's Day. Now I got to make it fancy. This is the fun part. Because you can really personalize it. This is what you can't do on the computer. So now I look at my letters and say, what kind of curlicues can I add? And curlicues is not drawn because it comes with. You got to think about this motion. No matter if you make it long or short, it's all this nice kind of a wave type of motion. And you got to think that. So on the H, I'm going to add one down here. I'm going to add another one here. I'm going to add one other here. Now, the thing about here, if I add too many, it gets too cluttered. You got to remember the fact if you make it too fancy, too cluttered, you can't read it. If you can't read it, there's no purpose of writing it. So I'm going to leave this one open right now. The Y, I could add something to the letter P like I did, just little tiny ones, little curls. The Y, I could totally change it. I could go around here. And do something like this. I could put a little heart up here. V, N, you know, we got the N here. You know, we need this room in here. Leave it alone. You know, we need some space in there, with some breathing space. But the N here, I can extend the N a little bit and then add a curl down here. So if I do it to this N, let's do it to this one. S, we can kind of do this. We can go up like this and make a curl like that. We could do the same. We could do something similar to the Y here, and add another heart in here. The D. Remember, going back to the D here. Remember, we left it open. It's not touching here. Well, we can add a curl in here. So, and if you made a mistake, you say, "Oh, I don't like this in here." You can erase it. You know, it doesn't look right. Don't like this. Maybe I want to change it and then do this. Bring it around this way, maybe. Okay. Maybe I want to add this in here. Maybe I want to do this. I don't know. Okay. So add the curls you want. Just remember, don't make it too cluttered, and add just enough. And if you want to add a little heart, you can do that. Now, see, okay. Now, what you do with this is you take your white paper that you know the inside, and you're going to slide this inside. And then you can see it. So what you're going to trace it. Now you can have it straight. You can turn it. I like to turn, so I'm going to turn mine. And so there it is. So I can take any color I want and trace it. Kind of have to look at it and concentrate where it lines it. So now I don't even have to worry about drawing any guidelines because my lettering is all done. And if you make a slight mistake, don't panic. You know, nobody's going to know. Only you. So don't say anything. So if you're off a little bit, who cares? Don't make your little mistakes big worries. Slow it down even now. Even though you already have your tracing, slow it down. If you go too fast, it's going to get sloppy. And we don't want that. So by tracing it, it makes it easy, less mistakes. You might have to push it down a little bit and stare at it and say, oh, there it is. You know, your brain will kick in and say, ooh, all right, there is the D. You know, if you didn't know what it said, you're going to probably have problems figuring out what it said. But you know what it says. Remember, we had a little heart here. And if you have to, you could peek under here, couldn't you? Oh, yeah, okay. So you could cheat a little bit. So now there it is. Okay. So set that aside. Save this because you might need it to make another card, or maybe you're having a soda and you spill something and you have to start all over. Well, don't throw that away, so save those. So now what do? I got my lettering on there. Now, well, I got to make some type of design in here. Take your ruler and come up with some type of border around it. So let's see. I'm going to take, I had blue. You know, go back to, I had blue and violet. So I'm going to add some blue in here. Go all the way across. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Hold the ruler. Notice I'm holding my ruler down so it does. You know, if you hold it one place and then it starts to move. So I need to kind of hold it down so it doesn't move on me. I'm going to leave this on because I got to remember what I did on here. I can go around here like this. You know, just a simple border adds a lot. So be sure you add a border. This is a cut border. This is a drawn border. I have both. Now remember, this space was for what? It's for your handwritten message. Do it in your handwriting. Dear Billy Bob, hope you had a special day. You know, whatever you want to say. So then you got some empty space in there. Well, remember your hearts, your heart patterns. Start figuring out and add what you want. Okay. Maybe I want to turn my paper and add some hearts. These are floating hearts, you know. And then again, you can kind of go off your front design and think of things you did there. You could copy them or do something different. Remember, we can double it by just drawing, looking at this line and draw a new one a little bit smaller. So when I'm drawing this line, I'm actually looking at this line, paying attention to the space that I am leaving. And if it's not perfect, nobody's going to notice except for you. And then I might want to shade this in. Remember, if you used your technique of value, it adds a lot. So I left it light in the middle and dark more towards the outside, instead of just coloring it all in. The same value, dark, let's say. It seems to kind of glow. It seems to kind of light up a little bit more when you use your value. I mean, that's why learning about value in the beginning is so critical to know, is that even making a card, you use value. So, And you need to slow it. When you're coloring in, you need to slow it down. You need to go to a speed that you can control what you're doing. If you can go faster and still control it, go for it. But if you start going outside the lines, that means you're going too fast. You're getting too sloppy. Remember, we mentioned craftsmanship. Okay. Kind of need some more. We need to spice. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to here. We got this cutout edge. Now I'm going to maybe copy this cutout and then somehow I got to connect it. Or I could cut this out, couldn't I? But I don't think I'm going to cut it out. Or maybe I'll just cut out a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do. Sometimes you kind of not sure. So leave it alone. Let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then maybe something will pop in your head what you want to do. Okay. You'll want to sign your name here. We'll talk about that later. So leave some space there alone. In other words, let your card breathe. Don't clutter it up. You know what we did here? You know what? I cut that out there. Maybe we could do something with this. Maybe I could accent that opening that I made. So again, when you're thinking outside the box, when you're thinking of creativity, what can I do? They will suddenly just start popping up and, oh, I can do this. I can add some type of line design maybe or something. I don't know. Maybe I want to fill this in. And what color? Oh, yellow. Okay, I gotta get yellow. Gotta get yellow in there. So think about what the colors you used on the front, see? Whoop, yellow. It's kind of funny how the brain works as a yellow. Oh, there's yellow again. See? And you can just keep on going and so forth. But I hope this idea, this concept, in fact, of practicing on here, making this nice, and then sliding it under and turning it and copying it, and then you won't have to erase anything on here, because we don't want to use the eraser unless we have to, because the eraser usually causes smudges. I mean, I can see my smudge marks here where I erased and so forth. And again, if you need to practice again, what do? You just turn it over, fold it inside out, and you got another practice. Don't sit there and erase the whole thing. Just turn it inside out. I mean, look how many chances you got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you turned it inside out. You got 4 more chances. See what I'm saying? Okay. So you can use this lined paper quite a few times to get it right. Okay, the way you want it. Maybe I'm going to do this to finish these corners off. How's that? For some reason that just popped in my head. Let's see, I need to go this way. See? So again, if you don't know what you're doing, just don't do it. Again, that just popped in my head. Maybe I'll do that, and that's a little bit different. And then what I could do is just cut this out right here. So again, don't get over anxious about just doing it. Your creativity will come at different intervals, different times, and see, now I have a cutout here. See, that's still different, isn't it? I could cut out little notches here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Or you know what? Maybe I'll do the middle one. See, that just came to mind. I won't do all of them. I'll just do some of them. There, see? I didn't do all of them. So it doesn't copy this. It's a little bit different, see? Okay? So have fun with it. Practice your lettering. Again, use your own font printing style that you're comfortable with. Then add the curls afterwards. Okay? And use your practice sheet and decide if you're going to have it straight or turn like I did. Okay? And figure out where it's going to go. Do it with a colored pencil. Make your border around here. Add some curls. Okay? But again, don't add too much. Don't clutter it. You know, this is called breathing space. It's got to breathe. Be sure you're through. And then this will be your personal message here when you're all done. You know, Happy Valentine's Day. Hope your day was fun. See you later. Blah, 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 you know, whatever you want to say. Love me. Okay, so that's part 2.